Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
Absolute delight to welcome you into the Fairways of Life show from wherever you are joining us around the world, folks. You can always find the Fairways of Life show streaming live and then also our archives on our Fairways of Life YouTube channel. That's the reason why we hear from you guys all over the globe. That's the reason why we keep stuff there archived so you can see it when you want it, where you want it. It's also available, of course, on every audio platform around the world as well. As many ways as we possibly can, we want to bring you the show that includes the program that we do weekly on Golf Channel, that includes our syndicated show around the country. Now, speaking about news around the country, those fires in California very much are on the minds of, frankly, everybody, because what they're seeing out there is like this worst-case scenario coming together. And the numbers are staggering. That Palisades fire, 5,000 structures consumed, 23,000 plus acres. The East fire, the other big one, 7,000 structures and 14,000 acres spoken for, respectively, each 13%, 27% in the order I gave it to you, that they say are contained. Not even sure how they come up with those numbers. I'm sure there's a science to it. But this is absolutely frightening. You can see video that came from NBC affiliate Channel 4 in Los Angeles. Most of the weekend, my wife and I were watching streaming coverage that we found online. You know, local news, but streaming coverage that you could pick up any place. We were out in California last week for the PGA Tour Superstore Training Summit. And we're 60, 70 miles away from where the fires were, but you know, the winds were stout. You could feel them. We had wind gust warnings up to 60 miles an hour. And I'm thinking, you know, geez, that's tried winds when they start to get to that level, which would make you understand how and why it was moving so fast. And the winds got much faster than that in the primary areas affected. But the reason why I mention it is that the local news there in San Diego, we were in Carlsbad, were telling us, have a go bag ready, which I suppose to locals in the marketplace, you know what it means. We didn't even know what that meant at first. You figure it out pretty fast, which is grab what you can and get out. But when you're not from an area, we didn't even know where we would have to go. So we were kind of waiting it out to see what would happen. And ultimately, we did our job there and headed out. So everyone, I think, is thinking about the people that are impacted in California. I mean, I see all the reports about, you know, the celebrities and the stars who lost houses and all the rest, which is, to me, I don't know, it's a little bit annoying because you've got, what was the number I just gave you? 12,000, and you know that number's going to be below the actual 12,000 plus structures that have been consumed. I mean, I feel for everybody. A buddy of mine who is an actor lost his house. You know, we send them notes and what can we do for you? How can we help you? But there's just everybody that's impacted. It's not just the celebrity headlines. It's everybody. It's massive, the human toll. The loss of life continues to climb, and those numbers tend to ramp up pretty quickly on the other side of these, whenever we'll get to the other side of these. Have you heard, Don? Have they heard anything, or Andrew, have you guys heard anything in terms of how long they're saying that the conditions are going to last, that these fires could continue to rage?
I have not heard a specific number, so I can't speak to that, but obviously it's not good. Currently, as of this morning, the latest news I saw was that the containment number was at like 13% for the Palisades fire, and the Eaton fire was at 20-something percent.
27, yeah.
So that's not total containment. So, you know, still scary. Still sounds very scary to me.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's all absolutely frightening. So, whatever we can do to help them, and then the other thing I would mention too, folks, don't forget, it was only a few months ago that the floods raged through Western North Carolina, et cetera, there's still a lot of people hurting. If you can find it in your heart and have the resources to reach out and help people, let's do whatever we can for people that are in distress here at home. So those are big stories. We're going to talk to Amy Alcott tomorrow's show. She's scheduled to join us. She had to evacuate. She was under the risk of losing her house. She had to face that hard question of, what do you bring with you? So we're going to check in with her. The Genesis, which is scheduled to take place, of course, next month, put out this statement. I'm quoting, because those of you listening to us on the radio side. We're continuing to monitor the devastating fires in our community. Our concern is the health and welfare of those in the affected areas. We are grateful to the first responders who have tirelessly supported and protected our community, close quote. Amen to all that. I read a good piece from Jeff Shackelford this weekend, who's out there, of course, and he was reporting accordingly. And his comment about the Genesis was kind of twofold. His first one was, make a decision now. And just, it's to him, it was clear what the decision should be, right? So he's saying, make a decision now, because out there, he's reporting in going, even if you limited the event to say, players and officials or something, they still have to stay somewhere. And where are you going to find accommodations where tens and tens and tens of thousands of people who have been displaced are not already there? What are you going to do? You can't ask those people to vacate for a week. Hey, hope you understand. So that was his message. His message was, and it still remains to be seen, this latter part of what I'm about to tell you. His message was, even if you can, you shouldn't, because of all the devastation that's taking place right now. It's kind of, I think he even used the phrase, read the room. So we'll see how that plays itself out in the coming days, but because it is staggering. On a related note to tomorrow's show, because I mentioned that Amy's coming on with us, a legend, a Hall of Famer, another legend, Butch Harmon, is going to be on tomorrow's show. And one of the things I love about Butchie is he's one of the few guys in the game that's established himself early on that he can say whatever he wants. You know what I'm saying? It takes a courage to do that. It takes a strength to do that, strength being, amongst others, to be in a position where if you said something that someone took offense to, you could just shrug your shoulders and go, yeah, didn't mean to offend you, but whether you're offended or not, that's your business, not mine. Right? That's the way he is. And so I can't wait to talk to Butch about a lot of things. And you guys tell me if you have particular areas of curiosity too. But some of the things that I'd like to know from Butch was, why did Tiger go to him to begin with? Right? And how much was the Butch Harmon Tiger Woods swing the foundation that the rest of the house was built on, even if he went to other instructors and, whatever it was? How much of it was still that foundation? But why? It's, to me, mostly everything always comes down to the why. Butch's father, of course, won the Masters in 1948. He had a complicated relationship with his dad, but I'm curious what he took away from at this point in his life. Butch is in his 80s now, believe it or not. For somebody that has the sharpness of wit and mind, I'd like to ask him about how and if Vietnam changed Butch. He's a Marine. Nearly died. Stepped on a landmine that, for whatever reason, was defective. Didn't kill him or maim him. So there's a lot of really neat things that I'd like to get into with Butch Harmon when we have the chance to speak to somebody as unique as him about his mindset and the players that he has worked with. I heard him say there's a lot of quotes out there from Butch Harmon, so it's easy to find stuff and say, Butch said this, Butch said that. But I heard him say recently that he's not as much of a teacher of the game to the best players in the world as he is a coach. And he says he's really honest with players. I heard a story. This was his words. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was his words. He was talking about some event, and Ricky Fowler played. This is before he started working with Ricky at all, and Ricky played poorly. You know, Ricky had that unique swing that he's continuing to try to modify, and he struggled. He has flashes, but he struggled. And this was some years ago. Ricky had missed a cut convincingly, and he called up Butch and said, hey, you know, after everyone tees off, when there's kind of nobody else around, can you go to the range with me and watch me hit some golf balls? Butch says, yeah. So they're out there, and you got Butch Harmon, you got Ricky Fowler. So people started to gather, and people started to watch. And Butch started working on a particular part of Ricky's swing. And you could easily be the guess of what he was working on in terms of position. And so when even the best in the world, when you're used to being in a particular position, to get the club into a different position, even in a setting like that, where it's like, this is exactly what you're doing that's off, and this is what you need to do to get it back online. Ricky couldn't find the ball with the face of the club, right? And this is what I mean in terms of Butch Harmon and his honesty to a point of brashness, if you will. Ricky turns to him and said, are you going to embarrass me in front of all these people? Butch looks Ricky in the eye and goes, you already did that when you horribly missed the cut after 36 holes. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting. And so I guess later on, Butch heard, I think Joe LaCava was standing nearby and heard it. Ricky's agent then or now was, I don't know if it's the same person or not, but the agent heard it. And I guess later on they came up to Butch and was like, whoa. Nobody ever says anything like that. Butch started telling the story. He says, you know, these players are just men, right? Everybody's got a vested interest in them. They're the boss, right? So it's rare for somebody to have the courage and the candor to go, I'm not embarrassing you in front of all these people. You embarrassed you already. Think about that for a second. It was wild. So Butchie will be joining us tomorrow. When we were out at the PGA Tour Superstore Training Summit, which is awesome. We've gone every year for years, and it's great for me because the next couple of weeks we've got a busy broadcast schedule. This week I'm hosting PGA Tour Live. That's ESPN Plus's coverage. And so I'll be heading out for that on Wednesday. And then Dom comes down very late Sunday night. I get back very late Sunday night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of PGA Show week, which is next week, we're live on Golf Channel. This Fairways of Life shows all those days. And then Thursday, we're still inside the convention hall on our digital show and distribution. Then, of course, the syndicated show. Check your listings for the weekend, that. And then I'm also hosting Golf Channel's coverage of the PGA Show again from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we've got an absolutely packed slate of content. And we're going to be pumping out a lot of content, too, from the show, like we always do, but even diversifying it more than we have in the past because our team is so awesome. So looking forward to all that. But it gave us a chance to see some of the new products, and I saw everything. I saw TaylorMade's new product. I saw Ping. I saw Cobra. Saw Callaway. I would say, Andrew, if you have that, there's a shot of what the setup kind of looks like when this was before the classes let out, because the classes are in those tents that were on the right getting training, and then they come out and they hit the product over here. Andrew, do you have the video of the Elite, the Callaway Elite driver? You could kind of see how sophisticated this is. And yes, it starts from that AI face, and it's very much driven by the design of the club, which is meant to aerodynamically flow better particularly attacking the points of a golf club that slow down in the swing. It's right behind the neck, the hosel, and it's usually right behind the tail of the club. That's where you get most of the slowing of a golf club. So they worked on that. I mean, very advanced stuff. The AI face stuff they're doing. Back in the day when I was on the equipment side of the business, if you were designing a club and say you had different philosophies in terms of where you were going to pinpoint the center of gravity on the face, which people now today call the sweet spot because of the way that you put the metal for forgiveness. But a sweet spot is actually a pinpoint, but they expand it into what I'll call a hitting area, optimal hitting area. And they've done a very good job of making that hitting area more of an X. And you have this, right, all the time. You'll have people go, whoa, 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 I bought a new driver a year ago. I bought it 2 years ago. I bought it 3 years ago. How much of a difference is it between what I bought then and what you're telling me about now? Well, obviously, it's incremental, right? The marketing people won't like me to use that word. It's not a very good marketing thing. Hey, buy this new driver. It's incrementally better than what you already have. But it's the truth. Well, those increments, when you add them up over the course of time, you got a better driver. But what I was getting at was there's little nuanced areas where they do get better too. And that face is one of those areas. So back in the day, if we were going to do drivers with different distribution of weight that needed to be tested for its dynamic performance, initial launch angle, spin that it generates, et cetera, well, you had to build those heads. So how many heads do you think they built back in the day when they were trying to decide what head would be the one that would go to the market? Generally, the number would be around 10 because it's complete, separate tooling, all of it. So you bring it out and say you got a really good player, and you have these 10 different heads, and then you're trying these different shaft combinations. And the shafts back in the day didn't pop in and pop out for testing the way they can now. These were epoxied in. So if you had to try a different shaft, then you got to get out the blowtorch, you got to put it in a vise, you got to heat it up, and then you could take it out. Clean it, epoxy up a new shaft and put it in there and go through the curing process and all the rest. So now when they do the AI, because of these CAD systems and more, instead of testing 10 heads, they're testing tens of thousands of combinations. So that's where the depth really starts to come in. So they will take a head. If you look at, I'll give you another little inside tip. Every one of the manufacturers, every one of the majors will have, when they come out with the drivers, they come out with various models. If their model is called LS, and most of them use that exact designation, the LS is for a good player. Anywhere from, I'm going to tell you under 5 handicap, but I think it's even lower than that. It's like scratch to plus. Because the LS is moving the weight forward. Every other driver you hear me talk about, it's about the weight going back and low, so you get that high initial launch angle. Well, the best players want that weight forward, and it brings down the flight pattern. Less spin, right? And so that's the LS. But what I was getting at was these same manufacturers and their same family of drivers. Normally they'll be, I'll just go through it just for the heck of it so you know. The LS that I just talked to you about, that's for the best of the best of the best. Right? The next one, they have various names for. Like one of the companies, I think it was Cobra, their driver, the Adapt driver, theirs is called the Core. Well, that's for good player, anywhere from, say, a 5 up to about a 15, that Core, right? That's a person that wants that combination of best launch conditions and the best use of technology, that combo. From there, they'll go to, and almost every one of the manufacturers has the following of what I'm going to tell you. In their family, they have a driver, and they call it Max. M-A-X. Max size, max forgiveness. That's the driver that's made for, and that's why I got into that kind of X on the face, where you hit it. Most amateurs hit it high on the toe, but also they miss low on the face. So the Max has maximum forgiveness, maximum MOI. And MOI, because you're going to hear a lot about it in the next week and months as people talk about new equipment. MOI is the club's resistance to twisting at the moment of impact. So the more stability that you build on the perimeter of the club in very, very specific areas, the more you stabilize that club head of where you hit. So back in the days, and you go back as far as your walk with the game allows, back with the days when you hit in the toe, you'd have that bulge and roll effect where you hit it high on the right toe and you hit this right to left shot that's usually a quacker. But as the technology started to advance, they could save that more and more and more. So I'm not suggesting that with the new drivers, you still can't hit it offline. You certainly can. That comes down to user error. But you're going to get better performance on an off-center face hit, and most people off-center face hit all the time. So they're expanding the performance area, that hitting zone, if you will. So, and then the last driver that's usually in most of the families is a flat out, they call it a draw bias, and that's code for this is the driver for the guy that slices the hell out of the ball. Right, to get that face closed at impact. Now, if you're using a driver with that kind of gearing and you tend to hit it straight or you tend to hit a little bit of a draw, forget it. That one is not the club for you because you're going to be off the earth to the left. But the vast majority of people, when they miss their right. So anyway, just some fun stuff that's coming up with that. I want to talk to you about what we saw this past weekend, the Sony. I had a lot of fun watching it. Early on, I was kind of switching between football games and back to the golf, but then at the end of it had me hook, line, and sinker in the way that it ended. So we're going to talk about that as well. TGL started since the last time that we were together. I'm curious what you guys thought about TGL. Right? Was it what you expected? Do you think that this is different enough that it's going to find its footing in the world of golf and more? By the way, Dom, did you do a question of the day today?
You're damn right I did.
All right. Well, what is it?
It's funny you should mention TGL. That's what the question's related to. I wrote, Are you interested in watching the TGL? Yes, no, and then I had a third category for those who are uninformed. I know no clue what that is. So we'll see how many people...
Who would be watching this show and have no clue what TGL is?
I don't know. There's got to be somebody.
Well, have you gotten any results on that? Has anybody clicked that one?
Right now, everyone seems to know what it is, so that's a good start, right? But right now, it's 50-50, yes and no. So half the people are saying, I'm not even going to watch this.
Well,
Don't even care.
I think you need sub questions there. Where
there's only one question at a time, Matt.
Yeah, but
we can ask sub questions right here.
Here's the sub question. If someone said, meh, okay, is that because you needed to see something else? Are they going to, tweak something to make it a little bit better? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Inside, I think it's 50 feet, if I'm not mistaken. If they go to the green?
I think it's inside.
50 yards, is it?
30. No, I think it's 30 yards.
30 yards, whatever.
Wait, let me see if I can look that up. But yeah, I think it's 30 yards.
But they go to a green complex with real sand in the bunkers.
Andrew can get stuff. Andrew, we have renderings so we can show people a little bit more specifically what Matt's talking. Keep going, Matt.
Right? But the putting surface itself, this is what I was getting at. The putting surface itself has all of these, I'll call them lily pads, these hydraulic lily pads under it that they can move the green so they can actually change the break for these different holes. Okay, fine. So one of the things that I noticed is that when the players were chipping, these are the best in the world, and they get used to the ball releasing when it hits the earth. Right? And in various conditions, various types of grass, whatever it is, soft, hard, but they still get used to it. They feel it. It's instinctual. And I noticed that with a wedge in hand at TGL, the ball was coming in, and it was just dead stopping very, very quickly. I could see how often they were thrown off in their judgment of what the ball would normally do when it's hitting Mother Earth versus when it was hitting this artificial green with all of the sub-technology that was in it. And that's one of the areas I bring that up because when someone was like, meh, I bet there's little tweaks that they can do that's going to help. Like I for one, I know I want to get in this in the next segment, and we will. But I, for one, enjoyed that, they're hitting into that massive screen, which, Andrew, you probably have that too in your bag of tricks over there. They're hitting into that massive screen, and I liked that the holes that they had up there were fantasy holes. I'd be perfectly fine if they also have like theme nights or theme weeks, I guess it would be, where they were like, oh no, this week we're playing Pebble Beach. Okay, that's cool. I would like that if they're playing Pebble Beach, right? This is all simulated. If they're playing Pebble Beach and they're playing it in, say, a 20-mile-per-hour crosswind from the right, Dom, we know the architect. We know the guy that designed this whole place. Load in some fans there, boys. Let the players feel that wind. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going to do the fantasy holes one, which was fine, like I told you, I liked it. If you're going to do those fantasy holes, do some crazy ones. Play a golf hole in the moon, but do a hole on top of a mountain. Just pretend that Pete Dye designed every course. More of the Fairways of Life show coming up right after this. Stay with us.
I got ball fit in 2000, went on a little run. Then Bridgestone fit me again, and I went on another run. I just got fit again for the new Tour BX. The ball fitting's been helping me. Will it help you?
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together, hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.
I think when you're training for other sports, or why most people go to the gym is so that they can have muscles and be strong and be healthy. And a lot of the reason why they struggle to play golf is their body doesn't move properly for them to be able to hit a golf ball. And when you're training for golf, it's a little bit different because you're focused more on flexibility and mobility and being strong in motion. When you're able to kind of have a warm up and have a workout routine and kind of gradually build up to where you're training your body to move properly, yeah, you're going to get a lot of big dividends on the golf course.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
Super easy to hit. Introducing the new PXG Black Ops irons, our first game improvement iron.
It's a larger face heel to toe.
It launches the ball high in the air and really far.
Much higher levels of forgiveness. You set that club down, it creates a lot of confidence. It's supported by this X-Core polymer material.
And that's where you get improved ball speed. If you're looking for a distance, forgiveness, and feel, Black Ops iron is going to be for you.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/Stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Welcome back to the Fairways of Life show. Hope you guys are doing well. Nick Taylor ends up winning for the 5th time at the Sony Open. You know, it was his 16th playoff in Hawaii. It was the 6th playoff in the last 10 years. There you can see the final leaderboard. Taylor and Echavarria end up going into a playoff. J.J. Spahn, Jaeger had it working, and it looked very much like it was in their hands, but they couldn't close it in the end. Taylor earns his 5th PGA Tour victory. It was his 284th start. He's 36 years old, 8 months, 29 days. He improves to, get this, 3-0 in his record in playoffs on the PGA Tour. He becomes the 11th officially international player. Obviously, he's from Canada. His 12th win at the Sony Open for an international player. Siwoo Kim was the last in 23. He becomes the 5th player in the last 6 years of the Sony Open in Hawaii to come from behind. Think about that for a second. 5th in 6 years, right? Watch that space. There's something to that. Comes in his 9th appearance at the event. His previous best was a tie for 7th in both 23 and 24. He led the field strokes gained tee to green, 8.232, which is interesting because I thought Nico was absolutely incredible off the tee. He earned 500 FedEx Cup points, moves to number 2 in the standings, fully exempt on tour through the 27 season now. Nick Taylor talked about what he did, particularly that, how about that eagle he had in regulation at 18, but he talked about how it all played out.
You know, it was a grind of a day. I didn't really look at the leaderboards till probably maybe 13 or 14, kind of had a sense of what was going on, and you know, when I missed the short putts on 15 and 16, I really thought I needed to get to 17. That's kind of my number I had to start the day. And, you know, the chip on 18 was awesome. You know, in that situation, I think all I was thinking was hole it because I felt like par birdie wasn't going to change a whole lot with Nico having a really good birdie chance there. So, you know, read it great and went in. And in the playoff to have those 2 nice up and downs to hang in there. Nico was hitting it great all day and knew that he really wasn't going to give it to me, and I was fortunate there that he missed that putt. Yeah, it's just, I think I enjoy being in those moments. I think for whatever reason my mind gets clear in those situations of the shot I'm just trying to hit, and it's kind of like a match play situation. I feel like I've always enjoyed match play when I was growing up and had success in that as well, and he's trying to hit each shot at hand. So, you know, I've worked on that the last couple of years of why those situations am I good and other situations where I'm not as consistent if I'm in 30th or something. But we'll work on that. But it was a nice start of the year, obviously. Yeah, there was a lot of layers to that. There was, you know, not making top 50. I knew would make the next year, you know, just not where I wanted to be. Not making the President's Cup definitely hurt, but I felt like, you know, my play, you know, I had more myself to blame than not getting picked. I felt like I put Mike in a tough situation, and then yeah, on top of that, I've had to play more in the fall than I had originally planned, and you know, away from family a few times, and you know, put some work in the off season, and was really wanting to be ready to go. Not that you're ever expecting necessarily to win right away out of the gates after some time off, but I knew I had my West Coast, because I was in the first 2 elevated events, or signature events, that my West Coast was going to be great. And a lot of golf courses that I've played well on and enjoy. So, again, to have this good of a start is awesome.
Very, very cool from Nick Taylor. Congratulations to him. I really like Nick. I like watching him. I think he's an exciting player, powerful player. I just like the whole mix. And when he's on, I mean, 5 wins on the PGA Tour. Poor Dom goes crazy when I turn to him and go, Dom, tell me how many players have had 5 or more wins on the PGA Tour. And he's like, I won't do that to you right now, but I can tell you that it starts to become more and more elite company when you get to a number like that. Echavarria, as I mentioned to you, Nico was hitting the ball great off the tee. What did him in the end was the flat stick, the short game. Here he is in reaction to finishing for him, which was his 4th top 2 finish on tour in 63 starts. He does have a couple of wins to his credit. This is his 3rd top 2 finish in his last 6 starts on tour. That's how hot he is. But let's find out what happened to him yesterday.
I misjudged the lag putt on the last hole. I didn't think it was going to be that slow and didn't consider the wind. The wind kind of held it. And my lag putting today was a little off, which is a strength of mine. But, I mean, just one bad putt can't define a great week. Just as of lately, I've been able to put myself in the mix, and I've been able to stay there and compete for the tournaments. Even starting bogey today, I fought hard and shot 7 under in the last 16 holes. So it shows a lot. I'm playing really good golf, and hopefully I can carry it on. I believe in myself now. I believe that I'm one of the best golfers in the world, and every time I'm close to the lead, I like the way I'm performing, and it makes a very, very big difference because it was like that at Sea Island too. I wasn't hitting it great. I was making the putt. So being around the leaders or having the lead has been a lot of fun lately, and putting myself there was the hard part, and now I've been doing it more consistent, which is not easy.
He mentioned the RSM Classic. He finished 2nd there. I happen to love what he said there at the end, that he feels like he's one of the best players in the world. And I've always had this stance. Remember when Ian Poulter got skewered for saying that when he's at his best, he feels like it's him and Tiger. You remember when Patrick Reed said he's top 5, and people started literally calling him top 5. And, you know, one of the things that's funny about the world of sport is that people love to snicker and ridicule when someone openly, publicly states where they feel they stand. Now, they're giving you a glimpse of their mindset, but for some reason people take offense to it until they do what Tiger does. I'm just here to win. Early days. Remember? Interviews, snickered, you'll learn, blah, blah, blah. I'm just here to win. Tiger was there to win. So I don't care if a player ultimately accomplishes Votto states or not, but my feeling is if you don't have that level of confidence at this level of play, then you're putting yourself behind the others that do. Right? So I liked that he said that. I thought that was great. Dom did do the research, though, quickly. He fired it right at me when we were listening to that sound. 268 souls all time have won 5 or more times on the PGA Tour. That's how small the number is. Tiny, the number, when you figure the thousands and thousands of people that have teed it up over time at PGA Tour events. 268 have accomplished what Nick Taylor just did. So congratulations to him. All right, Dom, I'm really curious if you've heard anything from the people about our discussion about TGL. Tell it again, if you would, if people just joined us. Tell them again what your question of the day was. What are you getting back on the survey, and what are you hearing back from folks? And have you heard from anybody around the world yet today?
Yes to all that crap.
All right.
First thing is, are you interested in watching the TGL? Nice and open-ended there. Yes or no? And then I have a third option, which is I don't know what that is. What are you guys even talking about? And we surmised, how is that possible? Mm-hmm. Well, 3% of the people have never heard of TGL before, so they don't know what it is. So I guess talking to the 3% really quickly, Matt, do you think you could give me like a 30-second, this is TGL?
Yeah, it's team golf. It's very limited team golf in terms you're talking about 3 players. And they're playing in a simulator, and it's based on, obviously it's based on skill, it's based on great, based on taking advantage of opportunity, but it's all done with a 40-second shot clock and making sure that you get everything done that you need to get done in the time period and time frame that we have. So it's golf basically on speed. Great. All good. Is that all right? Is that a good synopsis?
Yeah, that's pretty solid. And yeah, that's good. And Andrew's got some accompanying photos, which is great, Andrew. You can keep doing that.
Yeah, keep doing that thing.
Yes, 39% say yes. I'm interested in this. 58% are saying no, they are not. And then I'll just read some comments that are coming in and around TGL.
Right.
Marty says, I like Tiger, but I just cannot get into TGL. Young people might like it, though. Paul says, simulator golf has big limitations. Derek says, TGL was impossible to watch here. I believe he is in Morocco. It was on ESPN International, but I don't know. Maybe you just couldn't get it out there. I'm not sure. And then there's
Morocco,
an additional.
It would have been on. What time did it start? 7 o'clock, I think, Eastern time.
7 o'clock Eastern time, correct?
All right.
Yeah,
So
and you can see on the screen there, if you're watching the schedule for the year, sometimes they have multiple events. Like if you look at the 17th, they've got multiple matches at multiple times over the course of the day.
I think
and then others, for example,
day,
like
if I remember correctly.
A triple header, in fact.
Nice.
But as an example, tomorrow, which is the very first time we're going to see Tiger playing in this thing, there's only one match, and it's Tiger's match against LA. It's Jupiter Links, which is Tiger's team, against the LA team, which I think is Justin Thomas's team. Anyway, let me read a couple more comments, Matt, and then you can comment.
Yep.
So there's more people commenting just about how TGL works and sort of some of the rules, et cetera, et cetera. Real sand, question mark? Okay, but there's no lip from the fairway. There's no greenside bunkers. Everything is super easy when you're playing from the sand. It's just all flat lies. I watched a highlight. I watched highlights on YouTube only, and I found the format not very good. Each player hit less than 20 shots. There's no trees on TGL. Only 3 of the 4 players on the team can compete, question mark, which is true. You pick 3 players. Each team has 4. Only 3 play in a match.
That's not unusual in team play. I mean, college doesn't do it with 3, but there's you're going to have players in the roster that aren't going to play in every single competition.
Yeah. So, will there be a championship? Question mark. The stadium was epic. That's true. The facility there. Andrew, put that picture back up, and some of the other pictures. It's pretty impressive what they built down there at that SoFi Center, and you can see some of the pictures there. Derek just wrote in just 2 seconds ago. He's the one from Morocco. He says, ESPN won't let you subscribe without a USA credit card. It's interesting. Learn something new. The more you know with that old NBC star over your head. It's all sim golf. It can't really be real ever. They're trying to make it real. That's part of the idea.
Go ahead. What else you got?
I mean, there's just more people talking about it. There are a lot of goods and a lot of bads, in my opinion, with how the first one went. The overall blanket statement I would make is it's the first time. Think about how many adjustments they've made to the FedEx Cup playoffs in the last 10 years. This was the very, very first event in something that is incredibly brand new in format, in everything, in every way. So I fully anticipate they'll be making adjustments, they'll be making changes, and next year will look different than it does this year. So I think it's not fair to make blanket judgments right now, but I do think there were some things I loved and there were some things I didn't love. And you can see there's some people asking questions about the rules, not quite getting it. You know, it's not supposed to be real, 18 holes of golf. That's not the purpose of it.
Yeah, there's a couple observations that I have with the whole effort with TGL. One is the realization that last year was the first year where there were more so-called rounds of golf played, or to give it a more general definition, which is probably more accurate, there was more golf played off course than on course, right? And on course golf, just so you know, is booming. So for someone that's would bump and go, oh, so they're going to kill the traditional game because people are playing simulator golf. It isn't. It isn't a question of either or. It's a question of in addition to. That's good for everybody that loves the game of golf, and it's certainly good from my perspective, and in who we are and what we do, whether I'm talking about it from an equipment side, which I still stay close to and love, or whether we're talking about it from a media side. Basically, just like we've said consistently here with all the different mediums in which people consume golf, one of which you guys are all engaged in right now, that is what you want, where you want it, when you want it, how you want it. I love that. I've never complained about people who consume golf, be it from influencers or different mediums, different podcasts, different perspectives. I love all that. I think it's great that people have those options, and you can get opinions, a vast array of opinions on anything that either hopefully will make you think if the people are informed and you respect what they're saying, or they might be in tune with yours. The other thing is that I think that this is one of the first times, with all due respect to the game of golf and the people in power around it, this is one of the first times that the game has been out in front. The game of golf is notoriously conservative. So much so that I think the game of golf has stumbled feet multiple times. In the last couple of years, because of the divide of the game at its highest level competitively, it exposed a lot of things in the game that in retrospect, when you look at it from the perspective of the modern world, you kind of laugh about it and go, really? The image that was projected of professional athletes, golfers, for decades were that they were perfect human beings. No problems with drugs or alcohol, domestic abuse, DUIs. No one spoke out against another player. They'd get fined by it. And if a player did cross a line and punitive action was taken, nothing was said about it. No dirty laundry hanging at all. So when the gates burst open and criticism started to befall from both sides, people were kind of shocked. Right? In a very much a warts and all approach, I think the game of golf is at its best when we know players as humans, when we know that there are issues at home, when we know that they're dealing with human conditions just like all of us, right? And this effort by the game, and look, I'm not naive. I realize that this is a private entity that's working in partnership with the PGA. Mike McCarley, who was my former boss, he was the president of Golf Channel, founded it with Rory and Tiger, and they have massive investments from big corporations. Obviously, SoFi's throwing in some dough, and they've got some big investors, celebrity investors. So they have a huge, view of where this can and should go, which is great. But regardless of motivations behind it, and I'm not criticizing any of that, I'm just stating it as fact. Regardless of the reasons as to why they got involved in it, this is golf to me that's out in front of something. This is taking and seeing golf through a different lens. Because simulator golf is growing and growing so rapidly, and I happen to think there is a union between the traditional game, if you will, green grass golf, and simulator golf. There's a lot of people that do both. That now, if we can see the best players in the world yucking it up, having fun, doing something that they haven't done before, that first week was the first time we saw it. This week with Tiger, it's going to feel like the first time we saw it. Next week after Dubai, Rory will be back. It's going to feel again like the first time we're seeing it, and it is in essence because of the combination of players and teams that come together. I love it. I think it's awesome. I think, and I'm not telling you that I love everything about what I saw, but I'm leaving open with an open mind, going, it's okay. They can do other things. There's stuff they can do to probably improve on that. Right? So give it a chance. Let's see how it continues to. I don't have any fear that it's going to redefine the game, and I think that's where a lot of times people build up walls. Because they're like, they see everything as an either or. Either you like this, or if you like this, you don't like that. I don't see that. I view golf as a buffet. Nibble a little bit over here, wherever you want. If something really is rancid to you, then don't touch it. Fine. But other than that, enjoy what's out there in any way you want to. So, anyway, it's all good. We're very much looking forward to tomorrow's show. As I mentioned to you, Amy Alcott's going to be joining us. She'll speak to the trauma that she has gone through over the last few days with those horrific fires out in California. We're going to be joined by the legend Butch Harmon, sharing some of his thoughts and his philosophies and what it was like to coach this player and coach that player. How has the golf swing changed in his heart and mind? And more. All of it coming up in the Fairways of Life show. Love having your company, folks. Thank you so much for it. Until we are together again, be well and goodbye for now.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery, and visit our world-famous historic sites. While you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The best feeling iron I've ever hit. Introducing the new Gen 7 irons, the greatest leap forward in irons technology, in performance, in PXG history. Our new quantum core material explodes off the face. Are you kidding me? The Gen 7 irons deliver groundbreaking new levels of forgiveness, speed, distance, and feel. That's what I'm talking about right there. Look at that trajectory. Just phenomenal. Gen 7. It doesn't get any better.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm going to go after PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're going to need all the easy you can get. Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour. Pound for pound, nothing's close.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers, learn about the latest clubs, test the newest equipment, log thousands of hours of training, and together hit over 100,000 balls, all so they can get you the perfect fit.